The Lions Club continued a long-time tradition in the community by delivering baskets of food and gifts to families in need.
Children were given a chance to shop with a hero to make sure their holiday season is a happy one.
Area veterans came together for a ceremony to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
And a middle school robotics team has been mowing down the competition as they advance toward a state title.
Hello, I'm John Atwater.
And I'm Melissa Kratt. We'll have these stories for you and more on this edition of ONTV News.
The Lake Orion Lions Club has been serving the community for decades and hosts events and fundraisers throughout the year. Recently, volunteers came together to brighten the holiday season for families in need. On Friday, December 16th, a small army of volunteers gathered at the Cirque building to assemble baskets of food and gifts for area families. Much of the food was donated by local schools, and items like meat, dairy, and fresh produce were purchased by the Lions Club. The volunteers were made up of students hoping to earn service learning hours, Lions Club members, friends, and family.
A lot of them are my friends. A lot are people who've read it in the paper, or they have friends in the Lions Club, and they just come back to me every year.
Once the food is sorted into various categories, volunteers then begin assembling baskets for families. The size of the family dictates how much food they receive. The baskets provide a family with about a week's worth of food. Volunteers returned on Saturday, December 17th to deliver the baskets of food and gifts to approximately 200 families and senior citizens.
When you deliver and you see some of these families, they're so embarrassed. The parents are so proud, but they want their kids to have a good Christmas. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's why I do it anyway, and I'm sure that's why everybody here does it. And I've been, like I said, for 20 years. The first year I came, there was no organization to it whatsoever. So I went home, sat down, figured out a way to do my assembly line, and we've been doing it ever since. It used to take them all day to do what we can now do in a couple hours.
The next major Lions Club event on the calendar is the Outhouse Races, scheduled to take place on Saturday, February 4th, beginning at 2 p.m. in downtown Lake Orion. For more information, call 248-975-6378 or visit lakeorionlions.org.
There is no shortage of goodwill in the community during this time of year. Recently, local heroes came together to make sure Lake Orion children have a very Merry Christmas. On Wednesday, December 14th, 90 children were partnered up with local law enforcement officers and military personnel for the 9th annual Shop with a Hero event at the Target store on Brown Road. The heroes represented the Lake Orion and Oxford Police Departments, the FBI, DEA, as well as Army and Marine personnel. After getting paired up, the teams enjoyed pizza together before heading into the store for some Christmas shopping. Thanks to generous sponsors and fundraisers, each child was given a gift card worth $150 to shop with.
It started about 9 years ago with a gentleman who was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he wanted every child to have a Christmas because that was important to him as a child, and he slid some money to me with that challenge, and he said, "Jerry, find kids that need Christmas, and if you need more money, come back." Well, he got better, and every year he's still our primary donor, and now we've picked up corporate donors, private donors, and it's blossomed into the program where any child that we identify that would like to benefit from this program, we're here for them.
Many of the children are referred to the program by the local elementary schools or word of mouth. Not all of them necessarily come from needy families. Some of the families might be experiencing a temporary hardship at this time of year, and it's heartwarming to hear stories of children who use the gift cards to purchase gifts for their siblings and even their parents. And it's all made possible thanks to a generous Lake Orion community.
You know, Target has reached out to us open arms 2 years ago as the economy was still pretty bad. We had 122 children, and we didn't scare them. They invited us back. So they've been very good to us. They provide some extra food and water and caped assistance to help the kids in the toy aisle. So Target has just embraced the program. And I would like to also thank and recognize that we couldn't do this program if it wasn't for all the hero donors that provide the funds that allow us to take these children shopping. And Joe, the miracle is I never release until the last day how many kids are coming. so nobody knows, but the funds always come in just enough to match this program. We're never over, sometimes we're a little under, but there's always somebody there to fill that gap.
On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor that brought the United States into World War II. President Roosevelt described it as a day that will live in infamy. On Wednesday, December 7th, area veterans and members of the community gathered at the Orion Center to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Dr. Joseph Master Mateo, who is the chair of the Veterans Memorial Board, was the master of ceremonies.
For those heroes of 75 years ago, we shall always be grateful for their sacrifices. May God bless them. May God bless our World War II veterans and other veterans. And may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Well, you know, history has a way of repeating itself. And if we don't stay on top of things, all of these things will happen again, and God forbid that they ever do.
4 candles were lit representing the Navy, Army, Marines, and the civilians who lost their lives on that day. Representatives of Miracle Quilts were on hand to distribute handmade quilts to the veterans in attendance. Several veterans of World War II were seated at tables of honor. Many were in high school when the attack happened, but soon found themselves answering their nation's call.
I wasn't in service at that time, and I was, like the guy was on the screen, I was at a show that day on a Sunday, and we come out of the theater and we didn't know what was happening, and that's when they said the World War had started. And that's my first inflection, and then I was only about 17 then, and then 2 years later I went in the Navy for 3 years.
Well, I was a sophomore in high school. That Sunday I happened to go to a movie in downtown Sedalia. And when the movie was out about 5 o'clock, I was walking home. It was about a mile away, and there weren't any cars on the street. Nothing. It was just perfectly quiet. And I thought, this is really strange, because usually there's traffic and cars. There's lights in the houses, but nope. It was a mild night. So I got home, and there was my mother and dad and my brother sitting listening to the radio about the attack on Pearl Harbor. And then the next day, when I got to high school, we went right to the auditorium, and they put a little radio in the middle of the stage in the auditorium, and we listened to the President Roosevelt declare war, and then we were dismissed and go home. But everything just changed immediately. It was just incredible how fast the country adapted and changed to meet the demands of the war.
That day was a day that I had just finished high school and was with one of my buddies driving down in Detroit, and I heard the commentator say that Pearl Harbor had been bombed, and I thought, oh Lord, this is it. This is going to do it. We won't put up with that for anybody.
The Pearl Harbor ceremony was the last memorial service of 2016. The next scheduled event will take place on Memorial Day 2017 at the Orion Veterans Memorial on M24. For more information, visit orionveteransmemorial.com.
Lake Orion students have a reputation for excelling in everything from athletics to academics. But many people were surprised when one local middle school team began dominating the competition in the field of robotics. The team is only in its first year of existence. The robotics team at Scripps Middle School is made up of 11 students from 6th through 8th grade. The program was created at the beginning of the 2016 school year and challenges students to design and build a robot to compete in statewide events hosted by the organization known as FIRST. Competitions require robots to gather balls and launch them into a basket to score points.
We start by designing our robot, coming up with ideas. We buy a kit of parts, and then we put together our robot based on what we think we can get for points in an event. So we worked on the shooting part of our robot, got our shooter down to where we thought it was consistent, and we worked on it from there.
The team took part in their first competition earlier this year. At the regional event in Midland, Michigan, the team exceeded expectations.
Our first actual event was in Midland a few weeks ago, and we won our first event, or our first meet to our surprise, and continued to win all the way through until we won 9 straight and won the championship. So the kids were really excited, the adults were really excited. This is our first time doing it, and we made a good showing.
We talked to some of the students who make up the robotics team.
Well, my brother Jeff is on the high school robotics team, and I've always wanted to sort of like see what it feels like to try and be an engineer. So I wanted, and my dad, he's always talking about robotics teams, and he heard that they're starting a middle school robotics team, so I wanted to join it.
Ever since I was like really small, I've been playing with Legos, I've been building stuff, I mod like Nerf guns, me and my grandpa do a bunch of soldering, so I've really liked building things, and once I heard about the robotics team, I really just wanted to get into it because it seemed really fun.
I like our instructors, they're nice, they help us with the robot, and they're good at building.
What does your future hold? Is this something you want to pursue in high school and college and maybe even a career?
Yeah, I want to be a software engineer when I grow up, so yeah, this plays a big role in it.
Well, in the beginning, we had no idea what we were doing, but now I think I've learned a lot more than I would ever have learned out of any chance that I would have had. So this year has been a lot of fun.
Well, there are a lot of skills, engineering skills, STEM skills that I want the kids to learn. I want them to learn teamwork, how to work with each other, but I also want them to know how to work to help other teams. There's a camaraderie at these events, and if someone has a part that's broken, we try to help them. If we have issues, they try to help us. There's everyday skills that these kids are learning, not only mechanical and electrical, but also interpersonal skills.
On December 17th, the team traveled to Lakeview High School in Battle Creek for the first Tech Challenge State Championship. We're happy to report that the team won at the state level, as did Lake Orion's Oakview Middle School. Both teams will advance to the Super North Regionals, which will take place at the end of March in Iowa. Congratulations to both teams on their success.
Among all the holiday hustle and bustle, the Orion Township Library managed to host an event that invited children to meet their favorite local authors and illustrators. On Saturday, December 3rd, area families were invited to visit the library for the 3rd annual Author and Illustrator Fair. 26 authors and illustrators were in attendance for the meet and greet and signed copies of their books.
This is the 3rd year we've had it, and it's a huge success. We have about 26 authors from all over the state and even nearby states coming in, meeting their fans, signing books, and talking about the process to become an author, what they write about, and all of that.
One of the featured authors was Michigan native Jonathan Rand, who writes the popular series American Chillers and Michigan Chillers.
First off, I think it's really exciting and fun to have a program like this where kids are involved with authors and illustrators, because this is something that shows the kids that this is attainable. A lot of these kids are, they don't know what to do with their ideas, and they want to write, they want to create stories, and this allows them to kind of interact, get some books signed, and ask questions. And it's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
The Orion Township Library will be closed for the holidays, but the staff is already gearing up for a full slate of programs and events in 2017. Visit orionlibrary.org to view their calendar of events.
Over the past several years, volunteers from Home Depot have renovated Fire Station Number 1 and the American Legion Post in downtown Lake Orion, and have made significant additions to the Orion Veterans Memorial. Well, Team Depot was added again. On Thursday, December 8th, employees from the Home Depot store in Orion Township once again came together to help a local organization in need. The North Oakland Transportation Authority has an office in downtown Lake Orion where its drivers gather, and its break room was in serious need of a makeover. NOTA applied for a grant through the Home Depot Foundation, and it was approved.
I go out and I evaluate the project to see what volunteers are capable of, if it's something that is within our scope of work, and we kind of go from there. So we've done anything from kitchens, we've done raised garden beds, we do painting, we really do a variety of things, but it really depends on what the project scope is and what the abilities of our volunteers are.
Home Depot employees use vacation days and personal days to work on projects like this. At NOTA, they replaced the cabinets and sink and installed a new refrigerator, stove, and microwave.
We couldn't do these projects without our volunteers. Without the volunteers and them giving their time, there's no way any of our projects. We do about one a month, and sometimes more. It just depends on the scope of the project. But without volunteers, and really then people in the stores working. So I just am so grateful that our people are giving and give us the opportunity to really make a difference in our community.
NOTA provides transportation for seniors, the disabled, and low-income residents in the Orion, Oxford, and Addison area. Rides cost $1 within the service area and $2 outside the service area.
Most of our employees are retirees, and of our 30 employees, 8 of them are veterans, and they enjoy gathering in the space before they start their job, and also during breaks during their day. And it's a gathering area. And prior to the renovation, it was a real dingy area that was really outdated. So this new project will give them a bright new space to be able to enjoy, have lunch, have breakfast, and just relax and enjoy their time.
If you know of a local organization that would benefit from the efforts of the Home Depot Foundation, contact Alana Hart at the Home Depot store in Orion Township. Their number is 248-393-9990. Or you can visit homedepotfoundation.org for more information. That's it for today's ONTV News. I'm Melissa Kratt.
And I'm John Atwater. On the next edition of ONTV News, we'll take a look back at the stories that helped shape Lake Orion this past 2016.
Stay tuned for LO Sports Update.